The director of the CIA has briefed US President Donald Trump on the investigation into the murder of Jamal Khashoggi after returning from a fact-finding mission from Turkey. Unconfirmed media reports say that Gina Haspel has listened to an audio recording of the Saudi journalist's killing. Last night, a vigil was held outside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, where Khashoggi was last seen alive. A group calling itself Khashoggi Friends Around the World called for Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to be held responsible for the murder. To give us an update on these developments, I'm joined now by Reuters journalist Emily Wither, who's in Istanbul. Emily, thanks so much for being with us. We've heard that the CIA Director Gina Haspel has briefed Donald Trump on the investigation. What can you tell us on how that investigation is progressing?
We don't know what Gina Haspel said to President Trump in that briefing, and we still don't actually know what the contents of this audio recording is. We've heard in some of the pro-government newspapers here that it details a very gruesome and brutal interrogation in which Jamal Khashoggi had his fingers cut off and that eventually he was killed in a very brutal and horrible way. But I think the question that everybody really has is, does that audio recording provide some kind of evidence that links what happened inside the Saudi consulate on October 2nd to the higher powers in Saudi Arabia, or whether this was just some kind of rogue operation? We have heard from one European security source who was briefed on the audio recording, and he said that an argument did break out inside the consulate, insults were exchanged, and that someone in the consulate said to Jamal Khashoggi, "Let's teach him a lesson." Another line of investigation at the moment is this well inside the Saudi Consul General's garden. We've been told by Turkish police that they are testing water samples from that well, and we don't know why, and we don't know whether they will go back into the Saudi Consul General's residence yet to investigate more the well area.
Well, we heard yesterday Saudi prosecutors for the first time describing Jamal Khashoggi's murder as premeditated. If that's the line they're taking now, do we have any more information as who might be made to take responsibility for this killing?
That was quite an interesting U-turn, because we have to remember that until a couple of days ago, Saudi Arabia was saying that this whole killing was an accident and that it wasn't premeditated. So they have changed their story here now, as they have done multiple times. And I think that's really what everybody is looking at now, is who ordered this, and ultimately who bears responsibility for this. And many here in the region fear that there could be a culture of immunity here. We just have to look at that memorial that happened last night outside the consulate. And there was a Palestinian journalist there, for example, who told us that she is afraid, and that many are afraid, that the same thing could happen to her. If we look at Turkey, for example, there are many Syrians here who have fled President Bashar al-Assad. There are Egyptians who have fled the Sisi government. There are Iranians living here in exile, and they are looking to what's happened and wondering if the same thing could happen to them. They want to see what the international community's response will be, and if there isn't a strong response, they're worried that that sends a message to other governments in the region that it's okay to do this and that you'll get away with it. But I think we won't see that strong reaction from the international community until there is some kind of evidence that is shown that links what happened inside the consulate to the very top of the Saudi government.